to have service that was soft-footed, gentle-handed, pleasant-hearted. I've let you shoulder all the hideous drudgery, the care, one horrid homely task after another, piling up, up, till you dropped in your tracks yesterday, still smiling."
"But I've got a good deal out of it, even so, sir," protested the white linen nurse. "See, sir," she smiled, "I've got real lines in my face now, like other women. I'm not a doll any more. I'm not a—"
"Yes," groaned the senior surgeon, "and I might just as kindly have carved those lines with my knife. But I was going to make it all up to you, today," he hurried. "I swear I was. Even in one short little week I could have done it. You wouldn't have known me. I was going to take you away, just you and me. I would have been a saint. I swear I would. I would have given you such a great, wonderful, child-hearted holiday as you'd never dreamed of in all your unselfish life. A holiday, all you, you, you. You could have dug in the sand if you'd wanted to. Gad, I'd have dug in the sand if you'd wanted me to. And now it's all gone from me. All the will, all the sheer positive self-assurance that I could have carried the thing through, absolutely selflessly. That little girl's sneering taunt, the ghost of her mother in that taunt. God! When anybody knocks you just in your decency, it doesn't harm you specially. But when they knock you in your wanting to be decent, it undermines you somewhere. I don't know exactly how. I'm nothing but a man again, now, just a plain, everyday, greedy, covetous, physical man, on the edge of a holiday, the first clean holiday in 20 years that he no longer dares to take." A little swayingly the white linen nurse shifted her standing weight from one foot to the other. "I'm sorry, sir," said the white linen nurse. "I'd like to have seen a roller coaster, sir." Just for an instant a gleam of laughter went brightening across the senior surgeon's brooding face, and was gone again. "Ray Malgregor, come here," he ordered quite sharply. Very softly, very glidingly, like the footfall of a person who has never known heels, the white linen nurse came forward swiftly, and sliding in cautiously between the senior surgeon and his desk, stood there with her back braced against the desk, her fingers straying idly up and down the edges of the desk, staring up into his face, all readiness, all attention, like a soldier awaiting further orders. So near was she that he could almost hear the velvet heart-throb of her, the little fluttering swallow, yet by some strange persistent aloofness of her, some determinate virginity, not a fold of her gown, not an edge, not a thread seemed to even so much as graze his knee, seemed to even so much as shadow his hand, lest it short-circuit thereby the seething currents of their variant emotions. With extraordinary intentness for a moment the senior surgeon sat staring into the girl's eyes, the blue, blue eyes, too full of childish questioning yet to flinch with either consciousness or embarrassment. "After all, Ray Malgregor," he smiled at last faintly. "After all, Ray Malgregor, heaven knows when I shall ever get another holiday." "Yes, sir," said the white linen nurse. With apparent irrelevance he reached for his ivory paper cutter and began bending it dangerously between his adept fingers. "How long have you been with me, Ray Malgregor?" he asked quite abruptly. 4 months, actually, with you, sir," said the white linen nurse. "Do you happen to remember the exact phrasing of my proposal of marriage to you?" he asked shrewdly. "Oh, yes, sir," said the white linen nurse. "You called it general heart work for a family of 2. A little grimly before her steady gaze, the senior surgeon's own eyes fell, and rallied again almost instantly with a gaze as even and direct as hers. "Well," he smiled, "through the whole 4 months I seem to have kept my part of the contract all right, and held you merely as a drudge in my home. Have you then decided once and for all time whether you are going to stay on with us, or whether you will give notice as other drudges have done?" With a little backward droop of one shoulder, the white linen nurse began to finger nervously at the desk behind her, and turning half-way round as though to estimate what damage she was doing, exposed thus merely the profile of her pink face, of her white throat, to the senior surgeon's questioning eyes. "I shall never give notice, sir," fluttered the white throat. "Are you perfectly sure?" insisted the senior surgeon. The pink in the white linen nurse's profiled cheek deepened a little. "Perfectly sure, sir," attested the carmine lips. Like the crack of a pistol, the senior surgeon snapped the ivory paper cutter in two. "All right, then," he said. "Ray Malgregor, look at me. Don't take your eyes from mine, I say. Ray Malgregor, if I should decide in my own mind, here and now, that it was best for you, as well as for me, that you should come away with me now for this week, not as my guest, as I had planned, but as my wife, even if you were not quite ready for it in your heart, even if you were not yet remotely ready for it, would you come because I told you to come?" Heavily under her white, white eyelids, heavily under her black, black lashes, the girl's eyes struggled up to meet his own. "Yes, sir," whispered the white linen nurse. Abruptly the senior surgeon pushed back his chair from the desk and stood up. The important decision once made, no further finessing of words seemed either necessary or dignified to him. "Go and pack your suitcase quickly, then," he ordered. "I want to get away from here within half an hour." But before the girl had half crossed the room, he called to her suddenly, his whole bearing and manner miraculously changed, and his face in that moment as haggard as if a whole lifetime's struggle was packed into it. "Ray Malgregor," he drawled mockingly, "this thing shall be barter way through to the end, with the credit always on your side of the account. In exchange for the gift of yourself, your wonderful self, and the trust that goes with it, I will give you, God help me, the ugliest thing in my life. And God knows I have broken faith with myself once or twice, but never have I broken my word to another. From now on, in token of your trust in me, for whatever the bitter gift is worth to you, as long as you stay with me, my Junes shall be yours, to do with as you please." "What, sir?" gasped the white linen nurse. "What, sir?" Softly, almost stealthily, she was halfway back across the room to him, when she stopped suddenly and threw out her arms with a gesture of appeal and defiance. "All the same, sir!" she cried passionately. "All the same, sir! The place is too hard for the small pay I get. Oh, I will do what I promised!" she attested with increasing passion. "I will never leave you. And I will mother your little girl. And I will servant your big house, and I will go with you wherever you say, and I will be to you whatever you wish, and I will never flinch from any hardship you impose on me, nor whine over any pain. On and on and on, all my days, all my years, till I drop in my tracks again, and die, as you say, still smiling. All the same," she reiterated wildly, "the place is too hard. It always was too hard. It always will be too hard for such small pay." "For such small pay?" gasped the senior surgeon. Around his heart a horrid clammy chill began to settle. Sickeningly through his brain a dozen recent financial transactions began to rehearse themselves. "You mean, Miss Malgregor," he said a bit brokenly, "you mean that I haven't been generous enough with you?" "Yes, sir," faltered the white linen nurse. All the storm and passion died suddenly from her, leaving her just a frightened girl again, flushing pink, white, pink, white, pink, white, before the senior surgeon's scathing stare. One step, 2 steps, 3, she advanced towards him. "Oh, I mean, sir,"